Welcome to another episode of Rim Shots with Sean right here in the Rock Rage Radio Network, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. And hey, I really like to cover other genres. I like to cover young artists because, let's face it, old guys like me can't keep going on forever. We have one for you guys here, right in my own backyard. I won't tell you how I know him because it would date me. It would date him. And we don't want to do that. We have Breezy, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's great to be here.
You've been doing this now for how long?
I've been rapping since 7th grade, so 13, 14, whatever age that is.
Okay, so I know because my own son was doing some of that stuff. Technology as it is right now, it can be very easy to do what you're doing. However, to do it well is not so easy. You're self-produced. Are you doing everything on your own?
For most part, I produce all my mixing and all that stuff. I've been getting more into beat making, but like
Yeah.
I started off like a lot of people of my generation now. It's so easy. You can just go on YouTube, search in any kind of beat you want, and put it in. So that's what I started off doing. But as I've been going like for like past couple months, I got FL Studio back, which I started on. I was using Logic Pro X for a while, but got back to FL Studio. I'm making beats again, so back to the beat making. But all my vocals, all that's I've been mixing that. I've been working on mixing that. I started on GarageBand, which a lot of people do. It's free. I
Yep.
just started out on my dad's computer, and as the time went on, I guess I moved on to Logic Pro because that's like it's the same as GarageBand. It's just a little bit more complex. You got a little bit more things you can do in there. But yeah, I've been mixing and stuff on there, and back on FL Studio now, making beats and stuff.
Well, and if you're coin operated, and I'm sure you are, making your own beats saves you money. You don't have to pay somebody to do that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I,
Exactly.
I, I know the drummer, man, and I'm a drummer, and why I'd ever want to cut a drummer out of the mix, I don't know. But with my son, actually, what we started doing is we started using my electronic drums to make beats, which was kind of cool.
Mm.
So there's all kinds of ways, and if you're embracing technology, there's ways to do it. So that's fantastic. So you've been doing it for a bit. I'd be interested to get your take on. Uh, what the level of support you're seeing in your community when you're doing shows and you're putting on shows. Are you seeing support? Are you not seeing support? And I'm going somewhere with that, but I'd love to get your take on it.
Really depends. I mean, I have a lot of like I went to NSCC last year for
Yeah.
music production, and I've met a lot of great people. Not many people rap though, so it's like a lot of rock, indie, pop, kind of stuff like that. So when I do my shows, and I just had a show at West Side Tavern, and everybody was like playing. Like first guy was acoustic guitar, then it was me, was like electronic rap, and then we had two bands. Like one was like Fleetwood Mac kind of vibes, and then the last band was my buddy Sam's band. Their name is Lint, and it's like psychedelic rock kind of stuff. So when I perform, it's mainly people that are coming for like the rock and stuff. I mean, people like the music that I make. I wouldn't necessarily say it's huge around Nova Scotia
Yeah.
because there's a lot of like bands. That's it. It's a lot of bands, but yeah, I mean the support's great. It's like I do my shows and people come up to me and they're like, I wasn't expecting that. Like I was expecting you to like have a guitar or whatever and this and that. I play guitar. I've been playing guitar for like most of my life, but yeah, and I have a lot of my friends that come out and support me, but I post on my socials and all this and all that. And yeah, it's usually just like random people that are coming to see the bands play and then they see me and it's just kind of like it's cool. It's cool to see though, because they come out to see the bands and they see like this kid who's 19 who's rapping over electronic beats and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I would say that overall it's not necessarily a very big fan base in Nova
Yeah.
Scotia for what I do. It's mostly like bands and stuff, but there's still a decent amount of support in what I do, and it's great to see like the people that are coming from that genre to my genre kind of thing.
Well, it is because it's important. You have many different. I mean, I've been pounding around the Halifax scene for a very long time, and the one thing for me that kind of drives me nuts is people will say it's so diverse, and really it's not as diverse as they try to pitch it. It's pretty laser focused on certain things, and there's some great other genres that just don't get the love, and I think hip hop is one of them. Like as an example, we set up a show at Monty's. I think it was 2 years ago. It was a great show, and people were like, "I had no idea there was artists that were doing this around here."
Yeah.
So I thought that was great. But then I'm starting to hear some things like a friend of mine that I know quite well. They did a show, and they weren't allowed to use the green room, and they weren't allowed to use the washrooms in the green, like just stupid things like that, because they thought these hip hop guys were going to come up and tear the place apart. Do you find any of that kind of taking place at any of your shows, like just kind of total lack of knowledge of what the genre is really about?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I've definitely had a couple venue owners kind of judge me before I went up and played, right? So like, I mean, I dress very differently than the other bands that are coming up. They're like, dressed in like more, wouldn't say formal, but like kind of like straight jeans and Converse and stuff like that. And I wear like these big old jeans that barely fit me, and like, like Jordans, Timberlands, blah 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 blah. Like, and they kind of look at me and it's like, okay, I don't really know what's gonna happen. And it's like, if you feel like you can see how they treat the bands,
Yep.
and then treat me, and then after the show, they treat me completely different than the way they were treating me before I played,
Yep.
kind of thing. Like at West Side Tavern, they they were nice, but they were kind of brushing me off a little bit, not really giving me any attention, especially during like sound check and things like that. And then after the show, they were like, it's usually always the same thing. It's like, oh my God, like I was not expecting that. Like I was expecting something completely different. And like I do like singing a little bit in my sets, like I usually do. I had 2 songs that I played at my last show, and they were just like kind of just straight singing, would not very rap at all. And that's what people usually like come up to me and say, I really like that, but the rest was good too.
Yeah.
And it just like really goes to show that people want, and especially in Halifax, that people want to see the singing, but like it's whatever to me. I mean, this is what I love to do. So
So I think what you find, I mean, certainly this is what my son and his crew found. I mean, there's an audience for it. There's no question there's an audience for it because people come out. When you attempt to get some mainstream play, like in terms of either radio play or push, it's not really there because a lot of the programmers program stuff out of Toronto and things like that. But you can get access to some internet radio and some celestial radio. The key is if you keep plugging away at it and you don't quit, you will have some success, and that's the bottom line. And I'll tell you, I remember when I was 19, being awful frustrated, going like, "Man, I'm just as good or better than some of these yahoos that are getting signed to record deals," and it wasn't happening. But the thing is, you just keep plugging away, right? Do you have a group that you travel with? Do you have like some collaborators? Do you have people that you work with that are kind of the inner circle type people?
I wouldn't say I have like a team necessarily,
Yep.
but one of the guys I went to school with last year, his name is Richard. Richard Fry. He's a producer. He produces everything under the sun, from like hip hop to like death metal. Like he produces everything, and he's got a crazy studio in his house. I go over there sometimes. We record stuff. And got another friend named Aiden McKinnon. He's just starting to get into it, but we've been producing. And I mean, I have a lot of friends that make music, but it's
Yep.
not kind of like my genre. So
Yep.
it's like a little difficult. And I've had other people, like there's this guy, he goes, his stage name is Young Blonde Don. We have a song on my first album. I went to school with him as well. He lives in Sackville. We've done some stuff together, but our genres are also different. Although he makes hip hop, he makes more like Eminem style, like very
Yep.
lyrical, like no, like not very melodic kind of thing. And I do melodic, like electronic, kind of like EDM almost stuff. And at this point, um, so yeah, in terms of what I do, it's hard to find people that are like exactly like in my genre range in terms of like the
Yep.
electronic blah 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 blah. But yeah, I definitely have like a few people around the city that I love to like. I love to make music with anybody. Like I've in school last year, I rapped over a rock beat. Like I rap over literally anything, and I have like other friends like this guy named Jeton. I've come over to his studio a few times, recorded stuff. He produces stuff, um, more on the rap side. But yeah, like I do definitely have a few people around, not as many as I'd like, but yeah, and I definitely don't have a team. I'd like to. That's why I'm trying to market myself out of Nova Scotia, because especially in like the States, like LA, New York, like Houston, all these places. Like they have more of the kind of stuff that I like to listen to and the stuff that I
Yeah.
like to make. So that's like my main goal now.
Well, and I mean, I'm not necessarily in the advice giving business, but from working a podcast, I will tell you that um, you have a couple people that are helping you out doing certain things. Your life is a lot easier than trying to do it all on your own. I wouldn't consider myself a control freak, but I also won't just blindly give stuff away. And I think if you get people that have your best interest at heart, that you can find ways to reciprocate things for them. So, for example, my producer produces my show, but he does videos for people. He gets paid doing that. That's just him doing that. It's not me going, "Hey, where's my cut?" So if you can find people like that, I think it makes your life a lot easier. And certainly, it sounds to me like you get the music thing down. I know the struggle around here, what you guys go through. I've seen it in my own house, right? So good on you. What have you been doing for singles and getting stuff out? Have you been doing them kind of like waterfall, where you're releasing them one at a time and that type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I just put out an EP late October called Nightlife, and ever since then I try to make at least like a song every day or every other day.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm working on an album kind of. I like to like basically like I have like I'll go for like an intro kind of song for like when I'm making an album. I'll like go for my intro kind of song, and then I'll try and work around like how can this intro go into this song, into this song, into this song. Um, but that probably won't come out for a little bit. But as of right now, mainly I'm just working on songs that I think sound really good and I think other people will enjoy as well. And songs that'll basically make people be like, "Oh, like who's this guy? Like he's kind of got something going here." And like, yeah, so every single day I go in the studio and make a song, and I won't stop until that song's finished, kind of thing. And I have a song set to release in a week and another song 2 weeks after that. And I'm just going to try at this point get as many songs out there as I can so people can just hear my music.
No, I mean it's a great strategy because strategies differ from genres and artists. There's no question. What's your 2025 going to look like? Do you have some things lined up in terms of shows? Or you just kind of take them as they come. What do you do?
I'm definitely gonna try and do as many shows as I can around the city. Um, and I want to put out at least one album, maybe two, hopefully, and just as many songs as I can. Like last summer, I made a goal to put out a song every week. This summer, I'm gonna try and do a song every single day and release it.
Nice.
So yeah, just as many songs as I can. I'm gonna market myself on all social media platforms as much as I can because nowadays, like I don't know, TikTok, I think that thing's getting banned, but
Yep.
um there's so many artists nowadays that one video on TikTok blows up and then that's their career started like right there. So like you just
Yeah.
gotta that's like the marketing thing.
It is, and unfortunately, I was just reading some stuff on TikTok, and a lot of those artists, a lot of the streaming platforms look for those folks because what they do is they put them in the grinder, right? They want to find that person to see if they're going to actually stick, and a lot of them don't, and they might have a little bit of success and then kind of go away, and so it's definitely a challenge, and it's one I live every day, man, because social media is, I joke about it. You have a good interview and 2,000 people will tune in, and then some dude feeds raccoons on his back deck, and 18 million viewers. Right? You just never know what's going to stick in this business.
Yeah.
So, I didn't ask you. I don't like to do this all the time, but just when I'm trying to get my viewers and listeners to kind of figure out who's who if they haven't heard of them before. Your comparables and artists would be who? Like if you were to say this is me or this is a genre that I'm like, who might it be?
Mm, I like to I like to Two Hollis, he's like a electronic rapper. I take a lot of
Hmm.
inspiration from him. Um all kind of like EDM styled songs that don't even have rap in them. I take a lot of inspiration from them too.
Yep.
Um, there's a guy named Nate Sib. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Nate SIB is how his name goes, and he makes a lot of stuff like I do. Kind of just like I started off. like when I was growing up, I listened to Logic. Like it was Logic and Eminem, like that kind of thing. So like my early stuff, it's like no auto tune, just kind of straight rapping with just like boom bap kind of beats. So like that's how I started. But now, as I've like been growing as an artist, I've opened up into like the EDM electronic kind of side of it, and it's something that I'm not seeing here, which is
Mhm.
another reason why I'm going more into that because I'm trying to be myself, and being myself at this point is very different from what I'm seeing around me.
Yep.
And so yeah, I've been growing more. I grew up a lot listening. I grew up playing hockey, so like all that EDM dubstep kind of stuff, play before the games, and I listened to that a lot then too. Um, so now I'm coming back to it, and yeah, I would say mainly to Hollis. I used to listen to a lot of Skrillex, um, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm just all the EDM plus the rap is basically what I'm opening up to.
Okay, last question, sir. So, where are the viewers here that are tuning in going to find out more about you, your music, how they find you, how they follow you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
You can listen to my music, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, anything you listen to music on, YouTube, literally any single thing that you listen to music on, I'll be there. And you just search up El Breezy, LBREEZY.
Peace, my friend. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
We're back after this.